We should have seen it coming. Randy Dobnak is the final piece of the Twins roster puzzle. 26 will go to St. Louis for opening day on Thursday. Will they be the same 26 in April, July, September? Absolutely not. Before we can explain, though, you need to get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi.
Yay.
Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team. Point at the right camera, Dave. Every day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer. Since Ron Coomer was the colorful character on the Twins roster, I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. I know, right? Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warren, quite the colorful podcasting fellow himself. Brandon was a Twins fan who became a Twins writer, and now he's both as a site expert at Puckett's Pond, a blog about the Twins. Go read Puckett's Pond. On the podcast today, Randy Dobnak. Of course, the Twins needed their secret weapon to make the 26-man roster complete while several players heal up from injuries and whatever. What makes Dobnak such a useful guy to have around? We'll look into it. We'll also look into the others on the active roster, and we'll see if we can find something to complain about. And we'll check on the hurt guys as well. No complaints about the bullpen, even if not everybody will be ready for the first week of the season. But we might complain about the Star Tribune and Fangraphs spoiling the surprise of the Twins having the best bullpen in the league. I guess there's no such thing as bad press, but you don't have to shout it so loud. What you must know, though, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So that's what you have to do with FanDuel to get your $200. Make your first $5 bet win, and then you get $200 in bonus bets. I don't know why you're talking to us. Get on the phone. So do it. Brandon, what's going on? We got almost 40 hours until opening day or something. I don't know.
30 something. Yeah, it's coming up, and it's, they finalized the roster and some surprise there and lots of stuff to talk about. You've got it laid out quite nicely here.
Oh, do I? Great. I'm glad somebody did. Was that me? I guess so. So the key to the whole thing fitting together is Randy Dobnak, and Twins fans know, real ones know, his story. It's really quite legendary. I mean, this is a guy who wasn't drafted. He was signed to a minor league deal out of an independent league for $500. He got $500 in bonus bets for trying out for the Twins. Exactly. And $500, what are you going to do with that?
His dad wants to know who's going to fact check this.
Right. His dad's on Twitter and seems like a hoot. But
I've met him. He's a special fella. Old Rick and Jody Dobnak, lovely people.
Well, that's good. It seems like Randy has become. I call him a Twins legend, half kidding, but really, this guy came from nowhere. He came from a school that doesn't exist anymore. It went out of business. That's scary. He was signed for $500. He pitched so well. He had a really good sinker, and he was so good that he made the Twins give him money. Eventually, it's well, we feel bad about this $500 thing. Let's give you a contract extension. And of course, as soon as he signed it, he got hurt. His middle finger gave him the middle finger. I think that's what it was. Yes. And he couldn't throw like he used to anymore, not with the same kind of success. So he signed 7 starts into his career, maybe not that few, but something
9.
like that.
It was 9.
This contract extension, he's going to make $10 million from it. So in a way, he's made it. Mm-hmm. And yet he's been kind of stuck for the most part at AAA because he can't really recapture that success that he had when he started out. But he's made the most of it at AAA. He's a guy that is really into the community. He fundraises. So he gives back already. And, he's maybe he'll do better, but this is like a mediocre AAA starter.
Yeah.
But just an amazing story of perseverance and success and personality and being a kind person and all that stuff. So how does he fit into the Twins roster? Well, is he one of the 13 best pitchers on the Twins?
Probably not.
Not necessarily. But what he is because of this contract, no one will touch him. Like, you can put him on waivers and no one's going to claim him because he's making several $1 million, mostly
$3 million this year, I think.
Yes. So, like, he's a guy that can fit in. The Twins have the timing isn't great on all these injuries. Like Brock Stewart, potentially other people. Tonkin might be out for a while, but it's really Stewart, I think, is the one where Stewart's going to go out on a rehab assignment to start the season with AAA. I think they're on the road. So he's going to be gone maybe. I mean, everybody knock on wood for Brock Stewart. Maybe it's a week into the season. Maybe it's 2. So what they don't want to do is add somebody like Anthony Masevich or Scott Blewett to the roster because they're not 40-man guys. And they would be subject to waivers at some point, trying to send them back to the minors when Brock Stewart came back. So they don't want to waste them. Like, if something bad happened to Colomb, they would need Masevich to be a lefty for a while. And, it wouldn't be for a few days. It would be for a while. So they don't want to waste him on this. And they very well could lose him on waivers. So Dobnak is sort of like a poison pill, his contract.
Yeah.
He's not – you can take him on and off the 40-man roster. It's like Stretch Armstrong. You can do whatever you want with a guy, and he's just gonna go with it.
He's a swinging door 41st man on your 40-man roster.
Yes.
And it's
that's how he fits in.
I mean, if you were ever going to have someone to do that with, I think Randy Dobnak would be a great choice. I mean, he's like a much happier version of Kei Igawa. I don't know if you remember that story where Igawa was with the Yankees and they're like, listen, dude, you're going to go play for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, but he never got rid of his place in New York. So every single day he'd have a chartered car, town car, whatever, drive him from his place to Scranton and back. It's 100 and some miles round trip or whatever. Not so bad for Randy, who lives in the suburbs and gets to go to either St. Paul or Minneapolis. Lives with his family. He's got a lovely young family. And I can think of many worse people, players, etc., where they get this role. And you know what? I'm happy for him. I'm excited. He's a super dude. And, that the pulley rupture in his middle finger happened twice. And you're talking about pretty small hardware there. If it goes on you twice, you got to kind of have in the back of your mind, okay, now what? We talk about Matt Cantorino and, here we go again. Well, with the shoulder, that happens. With the finger, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if they've done enough research on the finger to say, yeah, after 2 times, it's going to stay healthy this time. I don't know, man.
It's interesting because we don't have a lot of, data comparatively speaking on the finger compared to the other joints in the body, the elbow or the shoulder or whatever. But it would seem to me that the finger, that would be something from use where you might see more of this sometimes. Maybe not the specific injury, but just kind of finger injuries in general. But when you do, it's really problematic.
Well, it's bound to be really durable. But if you're doing something that's hurting it, that's meaningful. There's layers to this of okay, and then if you get healthy the second time, what are you changing? And does that materially change, let's say, your sinker, the one pitch that got you where you are today? His sliders looked pretty good this spring. And you know what? If they go out and score 8 runs on opening day off Sonny Gray and Randy pitches the last 2 innings, that would be exactly what you'd want him on the roster for. That would be perfect. But there's no way of knowing how long he's going to be in the big leagues or if it's long at all. Probably not going to be long at all. So, I mean, just what a fun story. I know baseball doesn't need stories. It's got to be best man for the job, whatever. You know what? I'm happy to see Randy Dobnak succeeding and thriving.
And there is some truth in thinking about it like this. You know how there are only 30 jobs that are managers in Major League Baseball. Does
Yeah.
that mean there's really only 30 people that can do them? Not necessarily. You just have to find the right person. I think Randy is one part of a spectrum of players. There's a whole bunch of people in AAA who, except for luck or timing or whatever, would be in the majors. You can transpose a bunch of guys. There's a lot of talent out there.
We can't all be Marlins at the same time.
You got it. So one thing that could happen, maybe it's not going to be a long-term thing, but if he pitches well, that means at some point maybe there'll be another call-up. So, I'm not going to, terminate this guy's career yet. We'll see how he adjusts with some new pitches and some new angles with his finger.
They can still option him. They've got the 60-day spot for Cantorino. This is the Castellano roster spot. So they do have some flexibility. And if the Cantorino spot gets used for Misovich or Blewett, Scott Paddock Blewett. No, sorry, I'm getting all these things confused. It doesn't mean that Randy's going to get taken off the roster. And again, it'll mean too that they will have a spot on the 40 that they can manipulate and not in a negative sense, if that makes sense.
This kind of manipulation to me is a little better than the manipulation that they have to do with somebody like Castellano in a Rule 5, where a guy is kind of like, oh, I better perform now or else my major league dream, who knows how many years. It's kind of cruel. This is different because Randy's paid. All he's got to do is keep working hard and put his head down and show up to wherever they tell him, and it's okay. So
we've seen guys rushed by the Rule 5, and it kind of wrecks them, like Willie Mo Pena.
Yeah, absolutely. Johan Santana's first Rule 5 season with the Twins was not great. It didn't turn out to hurt him, although maybe it did. I don't know. Maybe it took him a while to get over that. But
he wasn't great until year 4, though. Year 3 as a reliever, year 4 as a swingman, year 5 was the Cy Young. And
I can see where it hurts your development. And they make. I don't want to make this again. We could go off on a tangent about Rule 5. Let's take a break.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about the roster and other things with the Twins after we're back.
Well, when it comes to fueling your body, quality matters, and that's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Peep this. Just Ingredients has also partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I don't think that guy wants to end up on any naughty lists. So that this stuff is legit. My wife saw the box come in. I know I say this every time, but she's like, that's the best of the best. They're my guy. So she was pretty thrilled to see that I was getting that. And she's got her own stuff, and if she uses that up, I'll maybe share with her. But for now, this is all mine. I got the protein powder and some pre-workout, and they're both just tremendous. Can't say enough good things about them. Well, if you want to get in on it, visit justingredients.us. That's .us, and use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll get 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow just.ingredients on Instagram. Also, Monarch Money. We got to give some love to Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all your money go? I personally do. I was at a water park today, and so we got a cabana and all that fun stuff, and now I'm going to be paying for it for a little while here. So between outings like that, dining out, online shopping, entertainment, flying to St. Louis, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app, by the way. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. And that way you stop managing your money and start building wealth. That's the thing, too. You talk about people who are rich and who are wealthy. There's a difference. This wants to get you on the path here with Monarch Money. For instance, I love the insights, seeing how much I'm spending on, gas in the car or, trips to go to the meat market because I've been trying to eat better. All that stuff, it tells you exactly where you're spending all your hard-earned cash. And, that convenience too is extremely helpful. You don't have to juggle multiple apps. You use Monarch and it checks your finances, tracks your spending, and even helps you plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com and you'll get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
Locked On Twins has returned. We're talking about the Twins opening day roster. We know Randy Dobnak's on it. He was the last man in. I think there are still some questions about Justin Topa. Maybe I'm the only one with questions about Justin Topa.
Well, today he was impressive.
Yeah.
Quick brag. We were in the cabana today, and the kids we brought one of my daughter's friends, and they were ripping around at the pool, and we were kind of just stretched out watching the Twins game. And the reason it was interesting to me was I was pointing out to my wife that the pitcher for the Rockies late, Seth Halverson, went to the same school my daughter goes to. So it's small worlds colliding, etc. Where was I going with that?
Justin Topa.
Topa came in, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was just a couple pitches, and he was out of that inning and looked very impressive. And I thought, I don't know if Dan Hayes tweeted the official roster right around that time, because when I saw the tweet, it was about a half hour later, and it had been about a half hour since I'd seen it happen on TV. But that was very much a, yep, I'm ready to go inning, and it couldn't have gone much better than that.
All right, well, that's good news. I've been probably overly worried about him just because of his recent, and by that I mean last couple of years, injury history, and how it seemed like a narrow path to making the opening day roster, because March 5th comes down with shoulder issues, doesn't pitch for several days. And then at the end here, it seems to be going great guns, and the shoulder seems to be holding up well. That's great news. I also question, we'll see about Mickey Gasper tomorrow. There's a workout at Busch Stadium. We'll see if he's able to do that. I assume that he is improving, but we'll see how much the rest and the stitches have cost him here. It did not cost him a roster spot, but no. He's on the team, and hopefully he'll be able to play right from the beginning.
9 pitches for Topa. They don't have pitch counts, but I just pieced it together while you were waxing poetic there. First pitch, ground out from Freeman. I'm assuming that's Chu Freeman on the Rockies. And then, no, I'm kidding. Brenton Doyle.
That's Tyler just added for Nolan Jones recently.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Then Brenton Doyle fly out to right on 2 pitches. And then Owen Miller, brother of Noah Miller, former Twins prospect, possible opening day shortstop 2023, by the way. Sorry, inside joke. Strikeout looking on a 92-mile-an-hour sinker. He front doored him on a sinker that looked pretty darn good. I mean, 92, I think 92 is probably about where he's at. And I don't know that he's going to get a ton higher than that. I mean, 93, 94, but at 92, I at least feel like he can compete. At 89, 90, 91, no. So at the very least, like, I feel confident he can come up and be, I mean, he's not being asked to be that high on the pecking order, you know. He can be a cog to come in and pitch the 6th inning of a 2-2 game, and you're not going to be like freaking out about it.
Right. I was going to say maybe he comes in down a run, you know, sort of like kind of a mirror to Cole Sands. Yeah, a before. Yeah, sort of like how maybe Cole Sands started out last year. We'll see exactly what he can do, and you know,
that's going to be tricky, though. Like, when you look at this bullpen, and we're talking about how good it is, and maybe that we're getting to that next year, but the befores and afters, it's a lot of afters, not a lot of befores.
No, I think that's how they want it. I know Rocco likes how Topa goes about, you know, his sinker and
goes about his business.
He goes about how he tries to get guys out. It's a little different.
I mean, that's just managers.
The other guys.
Yeah.
No, it is. But I mean, he likes the shape of his pitches, or what the ideal, what he does to the swings on the batters. It's just different than some of the other guys on the team. So He's kind of like a nice little secret weapon to have, even though everybody knows him, so it's not a secret. I want to make sure. So it's not bad news about Royce Lewis, but it's not good. He's still got swelling in his hamstring. He has not started baseball activities yet. So that's it was said to be a moderate hamstring strain, and I guess this is continuing in that vein. It's not really bad like last year's quad in KC, but it isn't a simple. It isn't like Brock Stewart's hamstring, which is apparently easy. So we're waiting on Royce Lewis, and I know everybody loves to do that.
This is going to sound kind of like weird and maybe HIPAA violating, but I don't get the sense that Royce is a particularly fast healer, and that's not a judgment. That's not anything. I just feel like if they give a timeline, he's probably going to take that timeline. And no judgments. I have nothing negative to say about him. I just mean the fact that we have enough data on him hurts his case in this argument.
Yeah. It's I don't know. In that vein, I don't know like where Brooks Lee is with his back, but the back's the kind of thing that it could go away tomorrow, and it could stop hurting him pretty quickly. I have a feeling that we'll see Brooks before we'll see Royce, even though
I think
backs are tricky.
Yeah, so. I think there's lots of layers to that. Backs are tricky, but also doesn't seem as severe, also doesn't seem as debilitating. Yeah, it's shocking.
In this instance, yes.
In this instance, yeah. I mean, as a back pain sufferer, for me to say that probably sounds kind of dumb, but no, I think you're right.
Let's go over before our last break the whole roster, because let's just throw a bunch of names out there and see if people remember them.
Sure.
Catchers Ryan Jeffers and Christian Vasquez. That's what everybody expected. Infielders Willie Castro, Carlos Correa, Ty France, Mickey Gasper, ankle dependent, Edouard Julien, Jose Miranda. Outfielders Harrison Bader, Byron Buxton, Deshaun Kersey Jr., Trevor Larnach, and Matt Wallner. Starting pitchers Pablo Lopez, Bailey Ober, Joe Ryan, Chris Paddock, Simeon Woods Richardson, and the bullpen Jorge Alcala, Danny Colomb, Randy Dobnak, Joan Duran, Griffin Jacks, Cole Sands, Justin Topa, and Lewis Varland. Anything jumping out at you? It's a terrible question. I'm sorry I asked it, but
you know what I'm thinking? You're gonna be, as a media member, you kind of learn to like look for things.
Yeah.
I think you could be the person who can break the Austin Martin is in the building news tomorrow.
Okay, I'll look for Austin Martin. I'll look for that.
Yeah, I think maybe that doesn't tie into what you just asked, but I've had
it does.
I've had a few moments where I've seen things and I've said things and they've been like, "Ooh, you weren't supposed to see that," and that's a really for a person in journalism and reporting, that's one of the coolest things you can hear. Oh, how did you notice that? You weren't supposed to see that.
Yeah, right. Like, all right, now you got me excited, even though I don't necessarily expect to see him, but maybe.
Now you won't be able to sleep for the 3 hours you're going to try to sleep before your flight.
That's right. All right, one more commercial break, and then we will clean this up.
I know baseball's starting, but March Madness is still here. We're into the Sweet 16, and neither DePaul nor the Minnesota Golden Gophers, with their new head coach Nico Medved, are anywhere near. I guess that's not fair. Colorado State made a nice little run, but Nico is maroon and gold now, and FanDuel, though, is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before, because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra to bet on things like buzzer beaters, Cinderella stories, or even who's going to cut down the nets. You got a really good feeling about Auburn or a really great feeling about any other team that's still in there? Can you tell I've already...
You don't know?
Well, my bracket's shot. Actually, it's not terrible, but funny story. I actually joined a women's bracket for work, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm in 4th place. That's pretty cool."
Way to go, Paige Beckers.
How many people do you think entered?
I don't know.
4. Yeah, and the 3 people ahead of me all have UConn winning it, just like me. So I'm not going to get into the final there, but FanDuel wants to help you out. Pick your favorites, stay in the action, and above all, easy and fast. The app could not be easier to use, and when you win, you get paid right away. No waiting around, no hem and no ha. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. You're running out of time. Get over there. It's FanDuel.
So there's no second commercial in the second break. I'm taking it.
Back.
Good. Speaking of the media is ruining the surprise about the Twins having the best bullpen in the league, Brandon. A couple days ago, the Star Tribune did first of all, it was really nice photos by, I believe, the photographer is Carlos Gonzalez.
He's great. Yeah, Carlos Gonzalez.
He's really good. Took some nice headshots of the boys. And is this the best bullpen in the majors? Or that's the headline or something to that degree. All right, fine. That's just local, whatever. Today, Fangraphs comes out with its top tiers, not in heaven, but of bullpens, TIERS. Guess who's number one? You don't have to guess. It's the Twins.
By a full win.
By a full win. Eric Longenhagen points out that, relief pitcher results are fleeting. They're really inconsistent. You can't trust them. Don't listen to this, but the Twins are number one, and by a lot. So it surprised me, I guess, a little bit considering.
For context, it's like 5 wins versus 4 too. Like it's not one win. Like you're like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. It's like 100 it's like an extra 25% better than the next best team.
There you go. That's a good way. That is something maybe I should have put in my story that I didn't really explain, but maybe someone can edit that in. So
I'll have your people talk to my people.
I was surprised a little that it wasn't the Guardians, considering last year we have Emmanuel Clase and we have
Cade Smith,
and we have Hunter Gaddis, who's Hagrid from Harry Potter. He's a big guy who screams and blacks out on the mound. They were 3 of the 15 or 16 best relievers in the league last year. Cleveland only registering 7th in projected WAR, but the Twins are number 1. And Eric is a big fan of Duran. Now, a lot of Twins fans will look at Duran's fastball and they'll see the value that he got from it last year and how it wasn't like it was the year before or the year before that. Mm-hmm. So even though he's still throwing 99th percentile or higher as far as speed. He's just, guys can hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball sometimes. He's got other pitches. He's got a splinter, which is really good. He's got a curveball that's pretty good. If Duran could get back to like halfway between where he was last year and 22-23, which was amazing, that would be a back of a bullpen with Griffin Jacks that would never lose. It's really that close to something like that. It's the best part of the Twins, and yep. It's not a big secret. Everybody knows already. But
I think the casual Twins fan, I'm saying the Twins fan that hates the poll ads, still isn't totally sure how they're going to watch the game on Thursday, and maybe thinks that Tom Kelly is the only good manager in franchise history.
He never platooned.
Right, yeah. Like, that fan is probably like, this bullpen that good? No chance. No way. And it's surprisingly deep. Like, Justin Topa would have been the closer on some pretty bad Twins bullpens a decade ago. Like, the Glenn Perkins era of closing, like, he would have been his setup man. So I think now he's number 6 or 7 in the bullpen. They have quietly, creatively put together a really, really good bullpen.
And I think even the guys that they pick up who are non-roster free agents, guys like Blewett and Masevich, those are guys that would be, I don't know about high leverage on a bad team, but they would be higher. Those are guys that can get people out.
Their methods for identifying these guys need to be studied by other teams.
Yeah, I don't know how to ask those questions exactly. How do you find these guys? They're, they pitch in public just like everyone else, but there's right. It's still a good place to look for baseball cards, but
yeah.
Anyway, so my biggest, I don't have a worry about the bullpen as far as lefties go, although I think that's one of the places where Sands can take another leap. sort of like Wallner against lefties as a hitter. He had a really good year a couple years ago against left-handed hitters. Last year, started out okay, kind of got a little bit whatever at the end. For Sands to become something like Jax, a pitcher that you can really trust in any situation against any hitter, he's got to be a little better against lefties.
So a complete pitcher. A complete pitcher.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I'm not asking much, am I?
No. It's the Gatorade. Is it in you? Well, time to find out.
It is. But the Twins have a great bullpen. And now everybody knows. Thank you, Fangraphs.
Yeah.
So you must know, gentle viewer and listener, that today's episode is brought to you by, that's not the one, Dave. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast with hosts Dominic Martino and Matthew Ane. MLB fantasy draft season is here. Be the most informed fan and set yourself up for a league win. And did you know that you can find Locked On MLB and Locked On Twins on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts? So that's it for this episode. The next time we talk to you, some of us, half of us will be half in St. Louis. The other half will be half in Minnesota. So that's like one quarter somewhere. Anyway, for Brandon Warren, this is Dave Brown wishing you all a very pleasant good evening, saying we are going to Alexei Casilla tomorrow night. Dobnak. I talked over it.
I dropped